I told my husband I'd leave if he asked me to prove my loyalty at work. I've been with Marcus for 9 years, married for 4. I work in compliance for a pharmaceutical company, which means confidentiality agreements, restricted access, and a lot of late nights when audits hit. Marcus knows this, or at least he used to. Things started when his friend Leo got fired from his company for leaking data. Suddenly, Marcus was full of opinions about how people cut corners, and how you never really know what someone's doing at work. At first, it was abstract. Then it wasn't. One night over dinner, he asked why I couldn't talk about certain projects. I explained again that it was legally restricted. He nodded, but I could see doubt settle in. A week later, his sister joked that I sounded very secretive for someone with a normal job. Marcus laughed, but not convincingly. After that, he started asking pointed questions. Why was I home late? Why did I lock my laptop? Why couldn't I just tell him what I was working on if I had nothing to hide? I told him trust is part of marriage. He said transparency was too. The breaking point came on a Thursday night. He said his friend's wife let him read her emails so there are no misunderstandings. Then he asked if I'd be willing to let him review my work messages, just to feel reassured. I put my fork down and said calmly, if you ever ask me again to prove my integrity, I will walk away from this marriage. He stared at me like I'd overreacted. That's dramatic. No, I said. It's a boundary. Asking that means you think I'm dishonest. I won't stay married to someone who believes that. He slept in the guest room. Over the next month, the distance grew. He stopped asking about my day. When I worked late, he went quiet instead of checking in. His sister started making comments about corporate people thinking they're above accountability. Marcus didn't shut it down. Then one evening, he told me he'd booked a session with a private investigator. Just a background check, he said. Nothing invasive. To put his mind at ease. I told him if he went through with it, I'd have divorce papers filed before the results came back. He said I was punishing him for being anxious. I said he was punishing me for existing in a job he didn't understand. That night, I called my former manager, Elaine, who now worked as an external auditor. I asked if she'd meet us. She agreed. Sunday dinner at Marcus's parents' house was tense. Halfway through, his sister made another comment about mysterious careers. I stood up and introduced Elaine. She explained compliance law, confidentiality breaches, and the personal and criminal consequences of sharing protected information. She explained that if I let Marcus read my emails, I could lose my license and face fines. She looked directly at Marcus and said, what you're asking your wife to do would be unethical and illegal. The room went silent. Marcus's mom looked shocked. His sister went quiet. Marcus stared at the table. On the drive home, he finally said, I didn't realize I was asking you to risk everything. You trusted other people's suspicions over me, I replied. That's what hurts. We started therapy the next week. He admitted his fear came from feeling inferior and out of control, not from anything I'd done. He apologized to Elaine. He canceled the investigator. I told him trust isn't about access. It's about believing your partner when there's no proof either way. His sister never apologized. She stopped bringing up my job entirely. Marcus learned that doubt, once spoken, can cost you more than certainty ever would.